add to cart maybe was below the fold. So people have to scroll and, look at the add to cart. The problem with that is only 71% of visitors would scroll to add to cart. So, we're number one losing people on the page. So we just moved it above the fold, the add to cart. And we saw a 16% increase in conversions.
Wow. Just by moving that above the fold.
Yeah, because you got more add to cart clicks. Welcome to the Inbound Buzz podcast, episode 152. My name is Tony and I'm joined by Moby Sadiq. How are you going today, Mobes?
Good, Tony. It's always good to be here, man.
It's hotter.
It's the end of the year. It's hot. It's the end of the year. I think this might be our last one for the year. Yeah, it's going to be our last show for the year. So, Tony, dude, it's been such a great year. I've had so much fun on the mic with you. And let's get on with it, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's happening today.
Okay. News buzz. Google roles review updates and core updates. So November 2023, Google announced that there's going to be a new update, two updates. One is called a reviews update, and the other one's just, your general core update. We know about that.
Yeah.
But this specific one, the reviews update's interesting because they're going to go through all the websites and look at what people write about, experts, people who review products, services, whatever there is, and they're going to
scrutinize, yeah. It's funny because Tony and I, it took us a while in our research to get our head around it because we thought initially, just for everyone else's clarification, it's not about 5-star reviews on your website. It's about if you review content. If you're reviewing any type of content, or you might not think it's a review type of content, but if you're talking about something that could be a review, so if you're a solar company and you're talking about the panels, it's going to be classified as reviews content.
Oh, good point.
So this is really important because your rankings may fluctuate. Now, the good news is that typically what Google would do, they'd have these updates that roll out. And then if you did something right or wrong, you have to wait till the next update rolls out.
Damn.
But it's a two-edged, double-edged sword. But the good thing now is they said that they're actually not going to announce these updates anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's just because it's going to be happen periodically, just happen almost automatically.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of good. So if your rankings do fluctuate, you can actually fix them quite quickly compared to before. But just to kind of talk about this, right? So we wanted to share some guidelines on what quality review content looks like. So a couple were: evaluate it from a user's perspective, demonstrate that you are knowledgeable about what you're reviewing, show you're an expert, provide evidence such as visuals, audio, and describe how it's evolved. So what they're actually talking about, Tony, it's first-hand party knowledge. So actually talking about, this is our experience, this is how it's developed, and the algorithm's smart enough to know, and this is the key thing, because I think this is what we want to touch on, is whether you use ChatGPT or you did what old SEO experts, quote unquote, do. They look at what's ranking the top 3, take a bit from column A, a bit from column B, a bit from column C, and then mush it together and expect that to rank. That used to work. That's not going to work anymore.
So it seems like Google's just saying, put some effort into it, get some good, articles out, spend some time into it.
It's 100%. Look, and it is going to make the life of a content marketer harder. But this is the thing, we talk about principles that are ever standing. That's why we recommend clients have an in-house content writer. We've got our own, writes 3 articles per week. And how it's all linked, because that stuff never goes. We're able to spend that time to review content. We did a research piece on HubSpot versus Salesforce that we use in a lot of our sales calls. So when anyone talks to me about Salesforce, or I know they're evaluating it, guess what I'm doing? I'm sending them that article. And that's first-hand knowledge, because we couldn't find an article out there that was non-biased and that didn't compare the two, apples and apples. So we did one. So that is a really good example of the type of content now that Google is going to rank and see as trustworthy.
Original content. Great. Yeah. Interesting. I love that.
The Google heavy day today.
Yeah. Google and Yahoo are enhancing spam protection for inboxes starting February 2024. So I was confused about this. I thought Google wants you to authenticate every email. No, that's not what it's about, right?
No, so essentially what they're trying to look, to be honest, I'm really happy about this. I think it's positive because how much spam do we get, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
On a daily freaking basis, right? I feel half the time I'm checking my emails, I'm deleting spam. So that's the objective. So Google and Yahoo, they're trying to counter all that spam that we get, improve deliverability, and generally prevent fraudulent emails and phishing emails and that type of stuff. So to do that, there's some guidelines that we found online. And one of them is technical and the rest are sort of more content based. But the technical one, to your point, Tony, is what they want people to do is they need to authenticate messages using standard email authentication protocols like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. If that makes me sound smart, it's because I'm reading off a piece of paper. I have no freaking idea what that is. So don't ask me. We're not technical coders. The key takeaway there is research these, find out what authentication you need to do. So if you just Google, authenticating emails, spam emails, and then figuring out what protocol that you have to solve for, and speaking to your IT person or speak to a technical person to get that done. Because that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And we're going to be recommending to all of some clients, we manage that stuff, so we'll do it for them. But other clients, will be giving them this advice to authenticate their emails.
That's good because sometimes I get clients saying, hey, what's this from Google ads about blah, blah, blah. I was like, do not click on that. That's... Don't even put
it's not a Google, it's a phishing type of email. 100% spot on, right? So the other sort of things that they did say, and this is also a pretty objective one, and it should be common sense in 2023, but you need to have easy to unsubscribe emails as well.
Yeah.
So if you do send mass emails, or if you're doing it like bulk, like the old school way of like 50 at a time, you need to make sure you have easy to unsubscribe emails, because these protocols or networks, they're going to be able to figure out what you're doing, like that you sent it en masse. It's very easy for them. I saw this, which I find really funny, Tony. We've joked about this before. The last tip was the content should be interesting to readers. Like if that isn't common sense 101.
Yeah.
But the point is there's a lot of crap out there that isn't. So my takeaway there is to make it practical is these days of buying mass email lists and just sending them a bunch of crap. And here's our promotion, here's our offer. You got to be very, very wary about that. Yeah. Because that'll affect your whole domain.
Yeah, you don't want your domain IP to get blocked, rejected, and you don't want to be flagged, and all this stuff that can happen and starting again on a new domain. But what's funny, because I remember this year we got a lot of spam emails pertaining to BU, tasking me to do stuff. Remember those? Oh, this is Moby and Tony, can you get this done? And I thought it was for Moby. So hopefully that stuff gets eradicated.
I think that's the objective. That's the idea, to stop that stuff.
Google and Yahoo. Google announced long-awaited Gemini model. So basically, Google has launched what it says is the most advanced artificial intelligence invented, Gemini, leapfrogging OpenAI in the race to render human brains redundant. That was a tongue twister. So basically,
well done, Tony. You did really well there, man. That was awesome.
So it's a new multi-model, right? AI.
Multimodal, yeah.
And it's advanced. It's a whole different level. It helps to handle questions through audio, photos, videos, text, and apparently it will outperform every other AI, including GPT-4 and all those other stuff. So
I found this quite interesting. So obviously Google's pushing this, so they're showing this data. So it is a little bit biased, but it is quite powerful. So multimodal. So what's multimodal? It can take, like Tony said, audio. It can take an audio prompt. It can take a video prompt, a written prompt, and then give you some sort of output. And to that point, it actually in their test, it outperformed GPT-4 in 30 out of the 32 most popular industry benchmarks. I will say though, some other news came out too that we didn't talk about, but I recently saw this, Tony, that one of the Google admitted that one of the demos that they showed was actually pre-recorded. It wasn't a live demo.
Oh, right.
So what that means is you don't know how much of that was manufactured.
Yeah.
So yes, it's really, really powerful. It doesn't mean ChatGPT is dead.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just, it's obviously raising the stakes. So Google, we've spoken about this before. Microsoft, which owns 49% of OpenAI, really fired a rocket in Google's bonnet. Because they've had to go and scramble and do this. Yeah. Right. And they have some of the world's most preeminent and professional, expert AI minds, DeepMind, and they own all of that stuff. Right. So it's really interesting. But I just want to share an example. So in one pre-recorded demonstration, Gemini Ultra, so that's one of their versions, was shown a photo of a child's physics homework.
Okay.
And was able to read the homework, mark the homework, and explain the maths and physics errors that child had made, going to level of detail far beyond most parents will be capable of.
Wow.
So it's not only just marking it, telling you it's right or wrong, but actually explaining it, right? In another demonstration, they held up two objects. One was an orange and one was a fidget spinner. And the AI was able to identify both and explain that the citrus and the spinner had something in common, that they could both be calming. So like GPT-4 was designed as opposed to GPT 3.5, which is a bit more direct and binary. Like, here's some information, give me some answer. GPT-4 from OpenAI was designed to be a bit more creative thinking. So that's why this is such a big deal, that they're saying it's able to compete with GPT-4 at such a creative level.
Wow, that's amazing. It's funny because when ChatGPT came out, we were like, man, what's Google got? And remember we said, nah, hang on, Google's got something up their sleeves and it's starting to come out, right?
Yeah, it's coming out now.
And that's it for our news buzz. Moving on, featured buzz. Growing e-commerce sales by 150%.
Yeah, so I've got to give you credit for this, Tony, because this is like, I know it's the team and whatnot, and you're always good at giving them credit, but this is all Tony, like his team, his strategy, and your area of expertise. So I'm really excited for you to share this today.
Yeah.
But essentially, I thought we discussed, we'd break this down into like, because this is the thing, right? People think e-commerce, there's some hacks and stuff, or some videos, or some VSLs, and all that stuff is good. But we're going to talk about it in 3 different categories today, right? Like paid, the organic side, and also like on-premise, on-website CRO elements as well, right?
Yep. So like there's a lot of factors, right? And there's a lot of tactics, but we thought we'll give a few points for the needle movers that really would help your business, moving forward. So, in November last year, Black Friday 2022, we had a client doing around 400,000 and we said, okay.
In sales, 400,000.
Yeah, sorry, in sales and revenue. And in 2023, Black Friday, we said, okay, how do we approach this differently? How do we get more revenue? And, there's lots of other factors. And we hit like 580,000. So that was like 150% growth, And, we like to learn from what we did. So we went back and we looked at it. First one, paid ads. What did we do in paid ads? So majority of our paid ads do really well, like from Facebook to, Google, Microsoft, any paid channel, it did well. We started early as well. Instead of launching on let's say Black Friday, we started a little bit early. But one major thing we did was, I know a lot of people complaining about PMax campaigns on Google. So PMax is a bit of like a hit and miss. Sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it bids off brand, right? And
just to explain for people who aren't familiar, or haven't listened in before, what is PMax and how is that different to what
Performance Max is a new campaign that Google created where you can advertise basically everywhere around the platform: YouTube, display, search, on all Google platforms. Gmail,
even Gmail, yeah.
Yeah. And instead of doing it to traditional, cold audience or whatever, we decided to change it to a remarketing, focusing on people that did add to cart, just a remarketing for add to cart customers that abandoned it, didn't buy.
Cool.
We did that and that skyrocketed. We had like a 13.27 ROAS or an ROI. So basically you think about for every $1 we made 13.2 cent,
13 times, yeah. That's crazy, man. And all you and the team did was figure out for this one particular campaign, people added to cart, didn't convert, and used PMax.
Yep.
To close the loop.
Yep, just remarketing.
That's cool.
Because think about traditional remarketing was either display or just a little bit of this or search. We said, let's just blank up the whole, everywhere they look on the Google platform, Gmail, search, YouTube, display, any website there, we're there. It just worked so well. And that was a 10.82% conversion rate. So that was pretty high.
It's crazy.
Our ad copy was as simple as complete your purchase. Don't miss out.
Yeah, not even that fancy. How good is that?
Yeah.
And I think also too, there's something to be said, because this happens to me too, or our clients have said this, oh, I saw your ad on Sydney Morning Herald, or so because the common consumer doesn't understand exactly how that works. They might think you're affiliated with that brand. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, right? There's also that credibility factor being affiliated with these high media sites.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If it's on the Google Partner Network, like you say, Sydney Morning Herald, we're going to be on there, right? That's better, recognition, social proof, everything. So yeah.
And for those thinking there's a second side to that coin, that you go on websites that you're not familiar with, you can actually exclude yourself from certain types of websites, can't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just one point for paid ads. Moving on to organic. So organic wasn't just something we did, organic, traffic, right? It's not
And,
something.
and before you get too deep into that, Tony, you've definitely noticed that, right? Like when you're doing paid and organic well, those two things, 1+1 does equal 3.
100%.
Why do you think that is?
It's the whole ecosystem of digital marketing. I've always said that it all works together. In 2023, you can't just rely on like Google Ads. You can't just rely on Facebook.
One
right?
channel. You can't say I'm going to do this for 3 months or 6
Yeah.
months, and then I'm going to do this other thing for 6 months.
Yeah, and we do see that with some clients where they just focus on one channel, and you do see them struggle, right? That's just what the data shows. But what we did with organic was December, November 2022, we were receiving around 8,000 visitors a month, and now you look at November 2023, there's 25,000 visitors. So that's like what, 3 times? I'm sorry, my maths is 3 times.
But you're Asian. No, I'm joking.
So that's 3 times the amount of traffic that's grown for the whole year. And we did some like easy stuff, right? So what we did was we updated the product page description. So looking at the description, all we did was let's make this quality better. Google's going to rank it better. Google's going to see it's a good product description.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, we also help reduce the bounce rate because people are reading about it more. They're more engaged with it. We got a content writer, at Red Pandas to write high quality blogs and, products, descriptions. And when we did that, we saw just a boost in traffic. In just like a month, we saw like a spike in traffic. So that's one thing when we look at organic, for search rankings and stuff. And a lot of products were ranking in the top page and stuff. Any questions about that, Mopes?
No, that makes so much sense. And I see what you're saying there too. Like you do these things that keep them engaged that obviously are great for SEO, but like to state the obvious, you're keeping them engaged, keeping their engagement, keeping them longer on page. They're going to buy something too.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense.
And like it's organic to increase organic traffic, but it also help with website and conversion rate optimization, CRO. And that's our next point because some of the things we looked at with the team on the web pages was like a lot of important elements on the website was basically below the fold, maybe. So when you're looking at your screen on your desktop or your mobile, anything that's just below your screen, we call it below the fold, and anything you can see is above the fold.
Yeah.
What we observed was that a lot of the design of the template was the add to cart maybe was below the fold. So people have to scroll and look at the add to cart. The problem with that is like only 71% of visitors would scroll to add to cart. So we're number one losing people on the page. Number two, looking at the heat maps, they weren't clicking on it because they kept missing out on the add to cart. So we just moved it above the fold, the add to cart. And we saw like a 16% increase in conversions.
Wow. Just by moving that above the fold.
Yeah, because you got more add to cart clicks and you get more conversions.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we did from a CRO perspective. That was a 16.4% growth, right? And you can see the conversions rate increased from 7.4% to 8.31%. So it didn't just increase growth of add to cart clicks, it's also conversions, and it just had this nice effect. So Black Friday we're optimizing for the best performance.
Nice.
On top of that, what we also did was customer reviews. Originally we had like a low conversion rate and it was good, right? It wasn't the best, but we're still getting good conversions. And then we just uploaded our customer reviews, and maybe that it just blew up. Like
wow.
We were getting conversions.
And how specific were the reviews? So I know this client you're talking about, they have a lot of different categories.
Yeah.
Was it like general reviews for like a category that wasn't even in that category? Like,
it was product related.
Right. So actual product. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's key too.
Yeah. They did have a company, overall campaign, reviews, but like, I didn't really measure that. We were just focused. I'm talking about product reviews.
Yeah, that's what people want.
Yeah.
They're looking at that particular thing, reviews for that product. All right, cool. So that had a big impact as well.
Yeah. So just looking at those 3 points, our paid ads, just changing your campaign objective, and then, your organic, just good content like we speak about, increasing the spike of organic traffic, and CRO, just grabbing your add to cart, moving it above the fold, some reviews. Man, that was 50% increase.
Nice. And what do you think? I know I'm throwing this left field at you, but just if you had to pick your brain, the types of ads.
Okay.
What do you think, like in terms of, because you mentioned the PMAX thing, but I'm putting you on the spot here, right? But like what sort of comes to mind with this particular campaign that you think is good advice for people in terms of like, if they're thinking about ads for e-commerce, what do you find that worked well for these guys and other clients?
Yep. Google Shopping is good, easy to set up, easy to automate it. So for e-com, clients, you have to be on Google Shopping. Facebook, Facebook was so good. If you have a product that people love, e-com, you got to be on Facebook.
And creative wise on Facebook, what do you think is working well now? Is it like that UGC style? Is it like,
everything's working well. Funnily enough, with this client, the creatives was just static images, normal static images that didn't say, I don't think it said Black Friday. I think it just said, just a product.
The name of the product.
Yeah, and just a little promo. And that was it. Like, seriously. So if you have a product that sells, all you need is you keep it simple. But if you do have a product that needs a lot more explanation, go video.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, even my question is kind of like a bad question, right, Tony, when you think about it, because it is testing.
Yeah.
And that's what we did do. You guys were able to see that is it like the video? Is it the simple stuff? But it's because you tested. You found the static worked here. For other clients, video is going to work better.
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely the key. And we've been pounding this, and we'll pound it for the last time before we end the year, is have more creative.
100%.
What separates the average from the really, really good is a lot more. I think they said they have 11 times more creative.
Yeah.
So that was awesome, man.
And got anything on cruise marketing?
Oh, yeah. So I think we'll keep this one short just to kind of wrap up the episode today. But the other thing too, and this comes a lot from the lead generation world, but as the adding quizzes on even like, so it's quite funny, right, Tony? Because like before Red Pandas, I think you had like a very heavy e-com background, and you still do. And I always just had like a lead gen background. And I noticed that using quiz marketing and lead gen was really, prolific.
Yeah.
And you noticed that in the e-com world, right? So like for lead gen, it might be like, we've got a client that actually like sells solar, right? So you go there and you put in your needs, and like it's very graphic, very visual, button based. What do you need? Okay, I'm a person, not a business. Great. All right, what's your electricity bill? And like then it kind of spits out this beautiful self-selection thing, right? So that's worked really, really well for lead gen. But what I'm seeing a lot more, and it's getting a lot easier, is that quiz type of marketing on e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
Like that's worked a lot with, I'm looking at some examples here. There's one on baby bunting. There's another one for this like cosmetic company. Another one for guitar, but essentially what it's saying, like, are you the guitar one? Are you beginner or advanced? And then you pick something, right? And then it's like, cool. It goes into budget and whatever.
So good.
So you've noticed that as well. Like, what's your experience been there?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the, like, if you're running high level, scaling high, production kind of like budgets, having that kind of quiz funnel is so good because, like, number one, from lead gen, you can really increase the quality of leads. But then also with like e-com, you can direct buyers to what products they want or need, right?
Buy that thing right now.
You can tailor it. I think it's so powerful. You got to try that. It works.
Yeah. And what I mean by, and this is sort of the last tip for this one, by making it really easy, because previously we had to code, and we still do that for a lot of clients. We'll like code it for them, but you don't need to. You can get tools now.
Good.
There's one called Prezi, which to be honest, we haven't used. Like we've done custom coding for clients, but I did find this one called Prezi, Preezie. It allows you, if you have an e-commerce website, the ability to have like a self-selection quiz,
so good,
spit out something, and this stuff has proven to increase your conversion rates.
So good, yeah. Absolutely. Because it's like, there's no point coding it these days, 2023. Like, it's automated.
Exactly. There's this stuff, and there's the other one, the other really popular one for lead gen, Typeform.
Yeah, Typeform. Yeah.
So like Typeform is really, really good for lead gen sites, but this one I'm keeping an eye on for some of our clients who just want something quick and easy for e-com. Absolutely.
And that wraps it up for episode 152. If you want to check us out, redpandas.com.au/EP152. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and also thank you for the year. I hope wherever you are, wherever you're listening, whenever you are listening, you have a safe holiday, a great holiday, and fingers crossed we'll be back again in 2024 for more episodes in Bound Buzz. Thanks, Tony. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.